Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Indiana Jones Show. 80s edition. This is going to be interesting. This is going to be quite a fun night because I am not going to be doing the questions. It's going to be my guest, Justin Anderson, doing the questions tonight. I can't wait to have him on. I'm not going to talk much about the 80s, but I will say this is just so puffy. I feel like an asshole in this. I feel like last time I wore this, it wasn't like this. This is ridiculous. I feel like a true jerk. But anywho, what can you do? The 80s. I was born in 1980, so I lived through the whole damn decade. And that isn't that a hoot and a holler? That was a while ago. That decade ended a while ago, but lives on. My God, the way that it has continued, that's pretty neat. That's pretty neato. So we have the hoverboard, of course, from Back to the Future 2. The Nakatomi Plaza from Die Hard. We got Egon slimed. Michael Keaton Batman. What's it? The Super Friends? I don't know. The Flash Super Friends? Gray's Sports Almanac. And one of my favorite DVD Blu-ray cases. Bing! Shit, can you see it? Oh, did the battery die? Probably should have... It works, but you can't really tell with the light right on it. But it's neat. I probably do need to put a new battery in. But anywho, I love the 80s. And I love the show I Love the 80s. And the one part 2. It's on VH1, so if you didn't live through the 80s, that's actually kind of a fun way to see it through all these talking heads' eyes. Yeah. But yeah, anywho, let's get Justin on the show. I don't need to blabber on. You all know that the 80s was a hell of a... You weren't around for it, my God. My God, what a time it was. Let's see, I hope it worked. It did. Boom! Look at this guy!
I can see you this time!
Hell yeah, you can. I told you I know how to do it now.
You got it. You got it.
Dude, you look so good. You look incredible.
Well, so do you. This is fantastic. I mean, like, 80s are so much fun to begin with. And I knew you were doing Back to the Future, and I was so close to almost doing Teen Wolf. And
Oh,
it just didn't come together, so you got Elwood Blues this time. So that's what we're doing.
that's
But how are you?
fantastic.
How are you today?
I'm doing great. Speaking of Teen Wolf, real quick, one of my best friends from college, we still are best friends. His band is called shit, I think it's Wolfface. It's Wolfface, and all
Yeah,
of the songs
nice.
they do is based on Teen Wolf, and it's just incredible. They all dress up just like Teen Wolf with the basketball jersey and Wolfman outfit on. It's just unreal. So check that out.
Ridiculous.
But yeah, I'm doing well. I work today, so I'm a little wired right now, but I'm so glad to have you on. First of all, I'm so glad this connection looks so good. This did not look this good last time. This looks
No,
awesome.
it didn't. No,
And you're,
I've made some adjustments.
oh,
I've got some lighting in here, and I'm working a little bit harder and just moving things around a little bit, just to make it easier. I will speak a bit slower this time because I know my accent's a little bit thick, so I will try and. But don't get me wrong, I'm going to get excited because we're going to be talking 80s here, so this is
yeah.
really. Yeah! And I saw you had your Egon there before, and I do have a 1980s
Awesome.
Egon, and
The real
I've got
Ghostbusters.
I've got Ray
Oh, man.
and Winston and my favorite Pete Venkman.
That's so
Absolutely.
cool.
So yeah, I've got a couple of bits and pieces here because I get excited about the 80s because the 80s were so much fun. And you can see I've got Castle Grayskull from
Oh,
He-Man back there, and
I think I
I've got
had that. I'm pretty sure I had that.
don't say
But I
that.
never
Well,
had a gizmo. That's incredible. Oh, that's an awesome looking gizmo.
it is very cool. For a long
Good.
time, I worked at a place called Dracula's Cabaret Restaurant in Melbourne, and we used to sell lots of horror themed sort of stuff. And this was one of my favourite ones that I used to get. So yeah, this is a really cool little piece that
For sure.
is amongst here. And we're going to be covering some really, really interesting 80s stuff. So please forgive me. I will have a notebook here, which I will be going over in a minute as well. But just thought I'd share some stuff as well. You shared some things here. So I've got my original belt buckle from 1989,
Nice.
which is very, very, very cool. I do like that. And just
That's so
something
awesome.
because I know today's not going to be about Indy, but I do have an unopened packet of Indiana Jones Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Ooh. I love that kind of shit.
It's
Don't eat the gum. Don't eat the gum.
it's still in there. It's still in there from 1981, and I'm pretty sure that will probably kill me if I eat that.
Won't, but
But
it'll not be good for you. It's a little spicy.
yes, yes, I don't even know what would actually be even in that. To be completely honest, I'm sure it's probably something absolutely
Worms.
toxic.
Worms. Oh
Most
my
likely,
God, dude. How are you doing?
most
How's your
likely.
day been? Oh no, your day just started, right? Because it's
Yeah,
now
so
10
technically,
a.m.
it's around about 10 or a bit after 10 in the morning here. It's cold. It's winter time
That's right.
in Australia here at the moment. So we are opposite to you guys on the other side of the world. So we're 11,000 miles away. So I woke up this morning. It was about 32 degrees in Fahrenheit. So it gives you an idea about Australian weather.
Wow.
I'm in the southern part of the country as well, so we are a lot colder than in the north. But yeah, it's cold here, as you probably would not expect for Australia.
Weird. Yeah,
But
that is interesting. But you know, why the hell not? You get seasons too. Does it
and
snow there?
it does not in the city
Huh.
though. But Melbourne, where I'm from, is commonly known as having four seasons in one day. So you can't really dress for any one day. You might need an umbrella
Yeah,
in the morning and then a shorts and a pair of and a t-shirt in the afternoon because
yeah,
that's
yeah.
just what the weather is like here. It's
That's
a
what New
very
York is like.
strange place.
New York is
Yeah,
very
but
similar to that.
yeah, so yeah, we'd probably be very much on the same sort of line with that. Yeah, absolutely. But man, you're looking fantastic. I love the get up. That is absolutely perfect.
And we got to watch that doesn't work.
Brilliant. Love it. All right. So, if you'll forgive me, I'll just take a couple of these bits off because I won't be able to actually sort of see what's actually going on here unless
Right,
I
sure.
can do
I'll put mine
it.
on. Oh, that's a bad ring light reflection.
That would do it. All right. So, um, the way this is going to be formatted today is I'm actually going to do things in a little bit sort of a different way to the Kev Indiana Jones show because I know this is a Kev Indiana Jones, but for today this is the Just Indiana Jones show today. So we're
Fuck
doing something a
yeah.
little bit different. All right. So we're going to be doing things in a more casual sort of way. So
Okay.
I've got a format for questions, but I want to keep this pretty organic. So I want to have this bit more of a discussion like two dudes just talking 80s in the bar.
Love it.
If you're okay with that.
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah, I love it.
All right. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to ask you is because this is a really important one for all of us. And as a side note, for anyone who's watching this, whether you're watching it on YouTube later or you're watching it live now, and you weren't born in the 80s and not from that era, get a notepad and pen because you might want to take down some notes for some of this. And I want to keep this
Yes.
in a really interesting sort of way that I want you to answer some of these questions as well. We're going to be looking at this from the point of view of a kid from the 80s, not from an adult looking back on the 80s, if that sort of makes sense. So
Can do.
that's why the movies that we're going to be talking about are going to be more based on how you feel seeing those from a younger Kevin sort of point of view,
Sure
if
can.
you're okay with something
Oh,
like
sure
that.
can. I remember all those feelings. That's my first memories are of movies, so I'm definitely with you on all this.
All right, so the first thing we're going to be talking about, Kevin, I'm going to ask you about two different things, and I want you to, this is going to hit some moments here for you. I want you to tell me about your local video shop
Oh,
in the 80s.
oh. Well, there was before the blockbusters took over, there was one that was on the corner of this plaza that we'd go to, and I vividly remember going there. And the day that I saw the Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade stand with the VHS for sale, I was just like, can we get it? Can we get it? It was like, I don't know how, it was actually not too expensive for the time, but that place was so fantastic. And it was just movies. It wasn't video games also. We had another place for that, which wasn't as great because it smelled like cigarettes and nobody liked
Yeah,
that. You take them home and it smells like cigarettes. It was awful. But this place, it was maybe like 5 minutes away from us. We'd rent the things all the time there, and it was just so special having this little tiny spot. I think that I actually might have been the first new movie I ever bought was from that place, as a matter of fact.
right.
And it was just so cool, and I miss it so much. And I was just thinking about it the other day of the location of where it was. and it's like going back in time. It's going back in time, and you just go there, you get some candy if you can. Like your parents rarely ever let you get candy, but
Yeah,
the movie selection wasn't huge, which made it easier to find things.
true.
Nowadays the choice is just the options are ridiculous. The problem
Yeah.
is choice. But when there's a limited option, you're just looking at a wall or two, boom, you're done in just like a minute, and it's just fantastic. And I really miss having just a truncated choice of things that like here, this is what we got, go for it. And it
And
was like,
I'm sure you would have had situations as well where I actually had my local video shop that I used to love to go to, but it didn't always have the best selection. So I actually had a video card for several video shops. I knew that these guys over here didn't have what I wanted, but these guys had something else as well. And we've recently had in Melbourne a exhibition which has recreated a video shop. So people could go in and they had all the video cassettes on the walls and they had 80s movies playing. Even the carpet was that really daggy 80s type carpet that you would have
oh
on the
my
floor.
God.
And the attendants had 80s style haircuts and that sort of stuff. So it really was a product of the time for the 80s. And tell me about like were the aisles set up by genre as well? Um, for you have your horror section, your kids section, and all that sort of stuff, or was it pretty much all stuck together and
It was
something along those
basically
lines?
it was the size of this room I'm in. It was just one room, small room, and it just had the walls with the cabinets of it. There weren't aisles. So it was just maybe a cabinet of horror, cabinet of sci-fi, cabinet of fantasy, comedy and adventure, and animation, I guess, would be one. But yeah, I
Yeah,
think there's probably about like just 7 or 8 cabinets that you go to, and you just kind of go like, okay, wow, that's really neat, and they'd all be front forward, so it wouldn't be like all side by side by the spine,
yeah, yeah.
and it would make things. That was honestly one of the best things about going to the video store were the covers. Just looking at the covers.
And
Sometimes
that's
you've never heard of a movie
yep.
because this was way before the internet. Like if you didn't see it on TV and you didn't catch it in theaters, you don't know what
You're
the hell it is.
literally basing your choice on the artwork, and I think that that's something that's lacking now. And because now we look at movies on streaming services and that sort of thing, and like yeah, you sort of can get a little bit more information, but you're not just drawn dramatically into the artwork. And this comes down to even things like music as well. I still buy CDs
Yeah.
or vinyl when I get them because I love the artwork and the work that goes into putting that in and opening up the liner notes and reading the
Yep.
lyrics and reading who they thanked and all that sort of stuff. And I feel like we're not getting the posters for the movies and we're not getting the artwork for the musicians that we used to get. It's a dying thing. And again, like you're saying, exactly right. I probably wouldn't have rented some of the movies that I didn't hear about if it wasn't for the cool artwork and on the video cassettes. And you'll remember as well, like if you go to a streaming service and you want to watch a movie that's just come out or so on, you can get that and stream it. Sometimes you'd go to the video store to go and get the latest movie that was out, and that wasn't available that night because everyone had rented it.
Yep.
And there's that disappointment, like you didn't have it at your fingertips to actually get that, and there would be that disappointment. Oh man, I can't get whatever's Who Framed Roger Rabbit tonight because they're all out. So you've got to go with something else. And that could have been the best thing sometimes. It could have
Yeah.
meant that you got something you didn't expect to get and got an absolute gem from doing that.
Yep.
That's awesome, man. Do you remember the name of the video store that you went to?
No idea. It was just a mom and pop shop. It was just a really
Yeah,
small place. It
yeah,
wasn't even a chain. It was just a one. Just these people own these movies. I'm pretty sure. And it was just one of those things that it was like a Nightmare on Elm Street. That's one of those movies that
yeah,
the cover. You look at the cover with with
yeah,
with your eyes just wide and the claws are coming down like that. When you
yeah,
don't know what that movie's about and you're just looking at the cover like what is this? What
yeah.
the hell? What is going on here? I
And you
cannot
can't
wait to
just
watch
Google to
this
find
movie.
out what's this about. You can't Google to
Yeah,
find out what's this about. You actually have to go, oh, I got to read this and sit through
yeah.
the whole thing.
Yeah, you
Ah,
turn over
awesome.
the box, you see like a little summary, but it will barely tell you anything. And then you
Yeah,
see, like on any streaming thing, sometimes those pictures that they have for the movies are fucking terrible. They're
oh
not
yeah,
they're rarely the poster art when it's an old movie. For some reason, they just refuse to use the best stuff. They use these
yeah,
Photoshop pieces of shit. And if anyone hadn't seen them and they just scroll through it, it's not going to pull anyone in like this art used to do for us, like this hand painted art used to do. It was like an art gallery, the video store. The
Absolutely.
video store was an art gallery when you don't know what the hell you're looking at. And it would just be a magical experience to go, that looks cool. I'm going to pick that up because this person drew a really cool drawing in here. And
And
that's all it took
speaking of art,
sometimes.
and speaking of art galleries, as you bring that up now, I don't know how many posters I took home from the video shop as well to
Mm.
put up on my walls. It's like once they were finished with the latest movie posters, they either were going to throw them away or you could put your name on the back of them, and then later on you could go and pick them up. And so my room was adorned with pictures of all these different things from movies, and certainly a few Indiana Jones ones. But like I would get posters
Sure.
because, and they gave them away, and it was such a really good community for it. I'm glad you could share that. Awesome, man. I love
Oh
that.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
so the second part to that is tell me about your local cinema in the 80s.
There was a few of
Or a
them, but
few.
the closest one was an AMC that was by our mall, our countryside mall, and that was within biking distance. So that's the one I went
Right.
to the most. That one was the safest for me to go to. I could go by myself. That was where I saw most of like the important movies of my youth. I mean, I remember going there for so many damn movies, and it's like a gym now, and it's just so disappointing to go by there. It's a huge reason why going home doesn't excite me like it used to, because all the things I've loved, other than the people and friends, they're still there. But these things and places that I used to just worship at, I didn't go to church. I went to movies. I went to the movie theater, and they're gone. And it's just so disappointing, and it just hurts the soul. And
Yeah.
I know there is a movie theater that there now in the mall itself, but it's just different. The one I went to, oh man, it was just so cool. I can vividly remember. And again, going back to the Last Crusade, I can close my eyes, and I'm pretty sure I was with my mom walking to see some movie, and walking by the coming soon poster wall,
Yeah.
and there was that.
That's
There
the
was
one.
that one,
Yeah.
and I just stood there, not knowing that was going to happen. I just stood there staring, like, oh
It's that.
boy, and that became my favorite movie poster of all time, and I'm pretty sure it still is, as a matter of fact.
Oh, and I can show you this is my one from 1989.
What?
You can see it
No
is
way,
not
really?
in great. It is not in great shape anymore.
Yes,
It
it
has
is.
been,
To me, that
and
makes it
even
even better shape.
and even in the back, it's got opens June 6th written on the back there.
Oh.
So that's I've had this since 1989, and it's been stuck on my wall over many many years. But and I feel like now it feels like a relic
Yeah,
because it is hacked up the way that it would be. But
I
yeah, that's a
love it.
very very cool thing. But that's what's really cool about going to the cinemas as well. And I still enjoy going to the theater to see a movie, but I don't feel it's as magical as it once was. And maybe that's an age thing. Maybe as you get older, I think it loses that sort of
No, no,
inspiring,
it's what's
magical
happening
thinking.
around you. No, it's not us,
Yeah,
it's them. I
yeah,
I
that could be true.
unfortunately I saw Fantastic Four on Monday, and dude next to me was on his phone the entire fucking time.
Yeah,
A month, 2 months ago, I would have been like, "Oh God, turn it off." But you know what? Now,
yeah.
whatever. This is now. This is going to the
And
movie.
that's it's
What
kind of
am I
what
going
you
to get mad
expect now.
about? First of all, I'm
Oh,
not going to say anything. He might shoot me in the face. I'm not going to say anything to him. And it's just like, what? You know what? I'm just here's the movie. Whatever. I just imagined. I'm at home. This is a friend. He's just on his phone. He's not paying attention. Fuck it. Whatever. I don't give a shit.
yeah.
And the person on the other side's talking, eating. Yep. Okay. This all just sucks. That's the movie experience now. And
And I guess
it's
that
not that we're getting older. It's just that they don't have respect for it. That's the problem? Is that
well,
the younger people don't have the respect for the movie theater that used to be there.
and it might not even be just younger people, Kevin. It's I think people are so used to just watching movies in their lounge room now, just in their own environment, and
Yep.
so when they
Yep.
just that you're going to a cinema, it's going to be the same sort of thing. I went a few months ago. I went and saw Gladiator 2, and I was in the cinema, and there was a dude sitting in a few rows in front of me, and he was taking an IT call um, for work. Now, remember, Gladiator 2 is a film where it's going to be mainly dudes who are going to watch films about gladiators and fighting and all that sort of stuff. So there were some very, very
Right.
angry, pumped up dudes in there who pretty much told the guy to get the fuck out of the cinema, which was actually quite quite fun to sort of see because people don't do that now. Like you said, they just accept it. They just go, "Oh, yeah, well, it is what it is." I
Yeah.
saw Jurassic Park Rebirth recently as well, and there was someone who literally was not facing the screen, but they were turned around and taking selfies of themselves with the screen in the background. I'm like, what the? Just, I mean, it's
No.
not a great film, but like, what are you doing? You and this is the thing. I worked at a cinema a few years ago, and I found there were more people who were interested in telling people they'd been to the cinema rather than actually going to the cinema. So it was more about like, here's a
Yeah.
picture of me at the movies, as opposed to I want to be here
Yeah.
and enjoy it. Like, it, and
It's about
that's I think
them.
the yeah, exactly, and that's why I think that that was sort of what was missing in what I see now when I go to the cinemas, and it's not every experience, but most experiences, I'm like, it doesn't have that magic of like being excited, getting dressed up, going to the movies, buying the popcorn, buying the cup that comes with that, the special one that
Oh.
and all that sort of things. And another one is a very special cinema cup
Oh
that I
yeah.
have.
Oh my God. I was looking for those on eBay. Oh my God, I had that one. Oh, I had that
So
one.
good. So that's another little one, but okay, that's really good. Like we're starting to get to know a little bit more about Kev here and your experience in the '80s with that sort of movie. So the next section I want to talk about is I'm not sure if you had this in the United States, but it's certainly something we had here, and it might be a dollar sort of thing that works out. But we used to have what we call 5 weeklies for $5. So you'll be able to get weekly films, so not the new release, but something that's been around for a little while, and you could pick five of them for $5. So
Huh.
what would usually happen is you would go, there'd be a pizza shop near the video store. Mum would order a pizza and send me and my brothers down to the video store. So here's $5, pick five movies. And so that would be what we would actually do. And that would be the weekend because, it's a Friday night. So we go out for the weekend. So it'd be 5 weekly movies for $5, which was just something that is a little bit sort of endearing for us and that sort of thing. So let's get into the movies themselves here, Kevin, because this is what we actually came here for. Now, we're going to do it in a couple of different ways. I'm going to start to talk about different genres of movies, and we might do
Okay.
5 weeklies for $5 out of the genres. But the first thing I want to talk about is I've got five movies here, and I want you to tell me what these movies mean to you.
Oh
And they're
shit. All
going to be
right.
very specific ones here. So let me just go back here. Where's
Bring it
my.
on.
Okay.
I love this.
So I'm just changing the format a little bit because you do such an incredible job with your show, and I want to do something a little bit sort of different to sort of give you an experience. It's going to be really, really fun. So,
I'm loving. I'm glad I
okay,
didn't
I've
know
got
any of this too. I had no idea. I have no idea what's coming. So
and
this is
that's
also
what's
fun.
keeping this nice and real for us as well. And this is a real conversation. All right, so let's go with five really really cool films from the '80s, and I want you to tell me what these five movies mean to you. And they're going to be probably a little bit different across the board. But let's
Right.
start with the one you're dressed as now. Let's start with Back to the Future. What does Back to the Future mean to you?
It means kind of more than I can put into words. It means more than it doesn't. Yeah, I can't even explain. There's a differentness that I love those movies with than I differently than Indy and Superman, Star Wars, and Indiana Jones. I love Back to the Future so differently because I wanted to be Marty McFly so bad, more than anyone in all those movies that I just mentioned. It would have
Mhm.
been like it'd be fun to pretend to be Superman and fighting. But I used to like in my mind, I'd come up with stories where I was Marty, where I was in those situations, and I was time traveling. And there was just something about that to me that when I saw that as a 5-year-old kid, it just was just like I get it. Like even as a 5-year-old kid, like got it. I got what was happening, and it was just so fascinating. I remember like when it was done, I asked my mom, "Can we go see it again?" I think we went to go see it maybe 7 times in the movie theater, something like that.
Yeah.
To the point where the next one was coming out, and I just flipped my shit. But that first one, it's highly regarded, and I totally agree that it's perfect. There's nothing in it
Yeah.
that doesn't lead to the next moment. And
So
even beyond that, even beyond the expertise of the filmmaking, there's just something like so familiar about these characters. Like,
do you think that it's accessible? I think is the best way to sort of do it because you feel like
absolutely.
Marty doesn't know what he's getting into. And that's the same as the audience at this particular time. They don't know. So you're going on that adventure with him because he doesn't know where he's going. He has no control over this and he's got to work it out. And so
Yeah.
you feel like you're doing the same thing with him. And that's across all three films as well.
Yes.
It's just a delight across the board because you don't know which way this is going to go because you're dealing with time across the board and you don't know which way it's going to go. It could go
Never.
any sort of way. If they're in the past, they're in the future, they're in the way back past, and just a delightful bunch of movies to watch. There is nothing malicious about watching those at all, and you always come away from all three of those. Doesn't matter which one, you always come away feeling good after watching them. I
Every
never
one of them.
come. I never. It's a feel good type sort of movie. I never come away from watching those, and I travel a bit for work, and they're a bit of a comfort one that I'll put on a plane because I'm on a plane for 2 hours. My beauty, I can just watch a Back to the Future movie for a couple of
Nice.
hours, and then by the time it's finished, I've landed. It's fantastic, but it's really, really good to actually have those. But yeah, great answer. And there's so many different things, and not just the performances is outstanding across the board because they are just brilliant and they're so of their time and so 80s as well. I love the music as well.
Oh
The
God.
music is just so cool.
Not just
And
the
I actually
movie
saw it,
score itself, but the songs in it. Like that,
yeah,
I had both the score and the soundtrack as a kid, and those 50 songs were just so fantastic. And
yeah,
another thing about growing up in the 80s is that we were still connected to the 50s. We still had
correct.
things showing all the
They weren't that
time,
far.
still from that era, from the 80s, 60s, 70s. In the 80s, it was still lumped in on that. We were still getting TV shows from the 50s on TV on more
You'd
than
still be
like
seeing 50s
one
cars
channel.
driving down the road, and you wouldn't think anything of seeing a 50s car drive down the road. You'd be like, oh, it's just an older car. Like,
Yeah,
you see a 30-year-old car now, you're like, it's a 30-year-old car. You don't even think
right.
anything of it. But in the 80s, it was the same sort of thing. And, like,
Yeah,
they were far more stylish back then, too. But, yeah, and the score itself, I recently saw Back to the Future in cinema with a live symphony orchestra as well, and it
nice.
was fantastic. And it was interesting because I think it's the same guy that did the soundtrack to Predator, and
Yeah, Sylvester.
there's moments in there where you're like, "Ooh, I can see the connection to that one." That's
Yep,
I like that.
yep.
I like that.
That's the
All
best.
right, yes,
He
sweet.
himself. There's not every composer does it. You can kind of hear what they do, but he himself has little moments in his scores that kind
Yeah,
of makes him say, "Hey, it's me doing the score." Like little beep bop boop beep
little
bop bop.
signature. Yeah,
The way he
a
does it.
little
I just want to say
signature.
one more thing about Back to the Future.
Yeah,
That one of the reasons I love it so much is that every character is flawed. Every
yeah.
single character in that movie is flawed, especially Marty McFly. He's kind of an
Yep.
asshole at times. He
Sure.
messes up all the time, but he's still the main character. And he's still a hero, and that's another thing that's just so appealing to me is that this little punk kid could go on to make things better for everyone, even though better means being more rich. But hey, I would take the money too.
But what you're saying is exactly right there, Kevin. Is that he is flawed, and that makes him real. And I think that that's why he's accessible. That's why we gravitate to him. It's like, man, I understand this guy. I get
Yeah,
him
yeah,
because of that. Because he
exactly.
feels like you. He feels like me. You know that's what. That's why you can watch that film and you can go, I am in Marty's shoes right now. And that's what's so much fun about it. Great
Absolutely.
answers. Great answers. That's awesome. I love the passion for that film as well. It's
Oh
so
my
good.
God, yeah.
Okay. Right, moving on. What does Die Hard mean to you?
Oh my God. Well, as you can see, I got the Nakatomi Plaza right there. Die Hard means more than just a Christmas movie. It is a Christmas movie,
I'll agree.
um, because it ends with a Christmas song for crying out loud, and the last thing you hear is that this is your idea of Christmas. It got to be here for New Year's. So it's a Christmas movie. But even
Yeah,
regardless, again, very much like Back to the Future, it's perfect. I don't think
yeah.
anything happens in that movie that doesn't lead to the next thing. And once again, every character is flawed. Not like especially John McClane. He's
Oh,
got
yeah.
problems. He's got anger problems. He doesn't really know how to handle things. And that's just such an appealing thing that he walks through glass, has to run through glass and destroy his feet. He can barely walk, and he keeps on going, no matter
Mhm.
what. That's one of my favorite things about John McClane is he'll get shot, keep going, walk through glass, keep going, like get in an explosion, keep going. He'll be in a subway that turns sideways, he keeps going, and that movie really sets it off beautifully in a not superhuman way that like any everyman could be John McClane. And it's just such a good action movie. And again, the score by
Oh,
Michael Kamen, and
fantastic.
that is kind of like a character in the movie because there's times where something happens that the camera corresponds with what the music does, but no character is doing anything. It's just
Mm.
the music and the camera working together, and it's just like an amazing conglomeration of art, and it's just so beautiful. The part I'm thinking of specifically is when there's a camera pans up and there's a lens flare, and the orchestra goes, "Blam!" And it's just such a cool thing that Michael Kamen I know loves to do. That
Yeah.
movie is just so damn good, and I remember seeing it for the first time. I think I was maybe like 8 or 9 years old, and first of all, just the wonderful use of the F word, the magical,
Oh yeah.
the way they just came up with all these different ways of saying that as a kid. I was like, registered, registered, registered. Oh, this is going to be good.
And I'm guessing it'll be the same thing for the United States as well. When you watch something like that on television, they actually cut the language out.
Oh
So
God,
if
yeah,
you want to see the swear words, you got to get that video from the video store to actually go and watch it for that bit. And I remember
yep,
doing that quite often. It's like, yeah, okay,
yep.
he's gonna say, oh, he said it. Like, yeah, sweet, awesome. And you're exactly right with John McClane as well, because like the regular cop in that situation would be finding a way to get out of the building to go and get more cops, whereas John doesn't. John actually does the job, and he gets in there and does that. It's like,
They got his wife. Fuck them. Nope. Simple as
yeah,
that.
yeah, so good. So, and great use of villains across the board in that as well. There's some incredibly great villains, and also some very stereotypical 80s characters in there as well. Like, it's
Yeah,
just a really good fun film. Yeah, sweet.
the mayor's gonna have my ass for all this. I mean, he's that's the best police chief there is, for Christ's sakes. Oh my God, Dwayne.
And what's his name? The guy who was the dad on Family Matters as well,
Oh yeah,
Reginald
Reginald Bell Johnson.
Johnson. Yeah, yeah,
Powell, Al Powell in the movie. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah,
so
such a
good.
good movie. And Alan Rickman is just absolutely superb in that too. Like he is just good. And don't get me wrong, I love Jeremy Irons in Part Three as well, but that's for a
Yeah.
different conversation because I
Oh,
know how
okay.
you
Yeah,
feel about Part Three, and I love Part Three as well.
I
So,
love it so much.
all right, well, we can come back to some of these, but let's move on at the moment. What does Ghostbusters mean to you?
These are all the foundations of my youth. You know, like you're talking about the bricks that made me. I
Mhm.
remember again. I remember seeing it at 4 years old, and I was actually just commenting on a. I haven't seen this kid since maybe 1986, but we saw Ghostbusters together, and I remember vividly being like a 5 year old kid hanging out with him, and my mom calling and saying, "Come over, come back home. It's time for dinner." And that's so I would leave, and he would be closing the door, and I would push my head back through and go, "No kiss," and then he would push my face out. Like we were 5 year old kids doing bits from Ghostbusters, and it was just so fun. And
Yeah.
I watched that movie with just like fresh eyes almost every time because it's I above all else it's a comedy to me, but it's also
Absolutely.
the more I live here in New York City, it's just so pure New York that that's going to be one of the things that I will definitely watch whenever I leave this city. I will watch Ghostbusters just to remind myself, oh yeah, that is that city. That is for damn sure that city in that movie. I love
Nobody
that.
steps on a church in my town.
I've gone. I've done an actual little tour with some friends of the like locations that they did in Ghostbusters. We went to Firehouse. We
Yeah.
went to Dana's apartment. We went to the church. And as a matter of fact, I've walked by that church, and it's really, really nuts. It's really, really cool. I love, love this town. It's really not that far away here.
I've seen shit that would turn you white. There's some amazing lines in that film, and it's just such again very much like talking about Back to the Future. It's a very joyful film to watch. I mean, it's dark, of course
Yeah,
it is, um, but man, it's a fun movie. It's
they're having
such a
so
fun
much
movie.
fun too. You can tell.
I think one of my bosses I used to work with a few years ago, he was a massive Ghostbusters fan as well, and he always pointed out his favorite part in Ghostbusters, and now I can't unsee it, and I love it so much now, is where Rick Moranis is like trying to get away from that giant dog creature, and the little lady at the end of his hallway opens the door. She opens it, she looks, and goes, oh, and just jumps
Whoa!
back inside. I
Oh
I
my
can't
friend,
unsee how much
my
fun that
sister and I
particular
have
part
been
is.
laughing at that since 1984. We both died laughing. We're like, huh! Just that noise she makes, that tickled us pink. Oh my God, I love that you mentioned that. I for some reason I knew it was going to be that. I had a
It's
feeling it was
such
going
a
to be
fun
that moment.
piece. It's such a fun piece. The movie is so much fun across the board, and the cast is exceptionally good. Everyone
Yeah.
does their job in that. And again, it's I mean, I've not been to New York. I plan on coming at some particular point, but yeah, it's just one thing you sort of get. You know, like it has that real visceral New York feel to it,
Yeah.
from
Like
what I
it
can
kind of
sort of
smells a
see.
little. You could the movie smells a little. And that's proper. Summertime in New York City, it smells a little.
Yeah. What about the Twinkie? There's so many good lines again, and we're coming across a lot. And this is something that I'm finding across the board. And we've got more movies to cover in this particular section over here as well. But memorable lines in movies, I think that the 80s definitely hit that mark. Like
Oh
any of the
yeah.
films we've talked about already, we've talked about Back to the Future, we've talked about Die Hard, we've talked about Ghostbusters so far as well. Each of those movies, we've been able to rattle off lines like that because they are memorable. I don't think we're getting films these days where I'm like, ah, there's that line,
Mm.
and it means a lot to me to say that. So yeah, that's man, I like this. Oh, this is going. This is going well. I like this. All right. Next one
I
on our
knew it
list.
would.
The next one on our list. What does Batman mean to you? The 1989.
This one
Here
here,
we
you
go.
mean?
That's the one.
A little story about that. Okay, so I had loved Batman, not as much as Superman, but that old show. I love that old show so much.
Adam West.
Adam West show. That was kind of all that we had, really. The movie, I knew the movie very well because I loved watching that movie. The goofiness of it was just so fun.
Oh yeah.
Um, Animated series didn't happen yet, so we had Super Friends
Yep.
and comic books. Really, we had comic books. My uncle had sent me some comic books prior to the movie coming out, so I knew Batman's story. I knew that they had gotten darker in the comics, so I never had a problem with it being Michael Keaton. I knew that he could do it. I never, kids they don't have that. Ew, Michael Keaton is Batman. It's just like, wait, a Batman movie with Beetlejuice? Uh huh.
Yeah.
Give
Yeah.
me that. So
Absolutely.
I saw it opening night probably with I think my mom and dad when they were still together. That's another kind of thing that is bittersweet about the 80s is that's when they were together and they got
Yeah.
on together in 1990. So all these movies that I love, there's a factor of that too that like they were still like it was all just one family
Yeah.
and that's kind of neat. I didn't really think about that till now. But the Batman movie I saw, loved it. And then I went to go spend the summer in Miami with my uncle, and he said, "Hey, have you seen Batman?" I went, "No." And he said, "All right, let's go see it. Let's go see it. I want to go see it." And so I'm just sitting there like pretending I don't know what the hell's happening, and it's just like it kind of made the movie better, pretending I don't know what's happening because like, it was just like such a blast. I remember how beautifully loud the score was, which I still don't know if Batman or Batman Returns is the better score, but either way, they're both so beautiful. And
Absolutely.
that without those scores, those movies would not be what they are. I mean, the performances are
I'll
great,
agree
the
with you.
atmosphere is great, but that Danny Elfman, honestly,
Absolutely.
he is the reason Batman is huge because without that score, I don't think it would have happened.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right as well. The aesthetics of that film as well is incredibly cool because it's not the way that superhero movies had been done before. They hadn't been
Right.
that dark or that stylized, I guess. And it had been stylized to a degree where it was very much like that graphic novel comic book as well.
Right.
And that's what was really cool about it. Like previous superhero movies, for example, Superman was beautifully written by Mario Puzo and just
Hmm.
incredibly well performed by everyone involved in those as well. But it didn't feel like the comic book or
Correct.
done to look like a comic book. as such.
Correct.
Whereas this was very much like to look like a comic book, and it paved the way for other films later down the track, which like Dick Tracy as well, which is another one that I absolutely adored, which came out in the
Love
'90s.
it.
So we're not covering that one on this one,
Love it,
but.
kind of hate it.
Yeah, fair call. I think Warren Beatty was way too old to play the character to begin with. I think that was probably the one thing that was probably the mistake on it. But again, there's different things and great performances in there too.
I,
But yeah,
I,
you're
I,
right.
I, I was obsessed with that movie as a kid. Yeah, when I watch it, I either love it or I hate it. But sometimes it's just like, wow, they really they pulled off something beautiful here. Whether
Yeah,
it's good or not, it's art. It's beautiful, beautiful art.
sure.
But that is the '90s, so that is a
Oh,
different story.
that's a different time. But on Batman as well, what an incredibly interesting choice for Jack Nicholson for the Joker. And he sort of walks that fine line as we talked about before with the TV series with Cesar Romero, who I thought was fantastic as he was the Joker as far as I was concerned prior to 1989. And then you see Jack Nicholson, it's like, wow, that's taking it up to another level, and he's unhinged. Like
Yeah,
he's got the goofiness and the silliness of Cesar Romero, but he's also dangerous in
scary,
a
like
really
scary.
absolutely. If you ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight, that sort of
Yeah,
stuff is
yeah.
really, really cool. And just a really stylized, very interesting sort of film as well. I thought Michael Keaton was great in it. I thought Kim Basinger was great in it. And again,
My first movie crush.
ah, there you go.
Kim
Nice.
Basinger and that. Yep, that was that. Oh yeah. Well, wait, no. When did Cocoon 2 come out? Was that the same year?
Ooh,
Because Courtney
that would have
Cox
been
and
too.
I think
Yes.
maybe the same year. They're tied. Courtney Cox and Kim Basinger tied.
Very cool. All right. Yeah, this is cool. This is going well. Okay, so number five, believe it or not, we're up to number five. The Goonies.
Uh, I think you just listed my top five basically. Yeah,
I
that's
know.
that one is particularly special because I grew up with that and that hoverboard. That was one of the only movies that my sister and I really saw eye to eye with. She, like as I think she was maybe 9 when that movie came out, so she was like had crushes on the boys, and I just loved the movie because it was fun. So we got to watch
Yes.
it. I mean, she thought it was fun too, but I later grew up to go to college with. I met a friend that was also obsessed with the Goonies. So it was just so cool to actually be able to put the movie on mute and get almost every single line right with a tape
Oh,
recorder because we just had
it's
it memorized, and it was it's a very very special movie to me because it captures not only the joy and fun of youth but also the sadness of it, just in one little moment where Mikey's just looking out um, over the balcony and after he learns that his house is going to be sold to these scumbag assholes, and the camera just kind of pans around him, and the music plays in a way that just is just yep, sad when you're a kid. That
yep.
captures everything about when you're sad as a kid, just like being helpless. You can't do shit about it. And there's something about the way that Josh Brolin comes around and just grabs him by the head and takes him off,
Yes.
it's like it'll be all right. And he's just
Yeah,
again a
that's
helpless little kid just being dragged away.
it's a very
Kind of
big
want to go
brother
watch
thing to do as well.
I want to watch all these movies now. It's just that one in particular. It has a magic that just seems like it almost seems like it's not written. Like these kids are just doing things, and it's just so fun. And there's an electric dynamic energy to it all that you don't really see in kids movies. They try to replicate that, but that movie did something very special.
I think it did. I think you're right. It's got a very organic feel to it. Like they've cast it exactly right, and the dynamics of everyone feels like the dynamics of a friend group from 1985. Yeah, it
Yeah.
just feels like that.
And they talk
And
like
it
kids.
feels
They
like
say shit. They actually say the word shit and
yeah,
stuff. They curse and they bust on each other. That's how kids were.
absolutely.
That's how kids are. It
Yeah.
nailed it.
And I think what's really, and you have such a great dynamic with all of them, and everything feels really real, even to the point where Chunk's telling lies, about Michael Jackson coming to his house, use the bathroom. He ate his weighted Godfather's pizza. Michael Jackson didn't come to my house, but his sister
But his
did.
sister did.
It's like I love that. And there's so many great moments, and I think Chunk is just a great character because he's actually
Yep,
not on the adventure with them as such. He's sort of a little bit lagging behind, but
he's on his
all of
own.
them, yeah, and but all of them are really so individual across the board with, and the performances are fantastic, and not just in the Fratellis as well. It's just a great bunch of characters as well.
Yeah,
And I am convinced that Jake is definitely wearing a Temple of Doom
I
fedora.
think
I
you're
am
right.
almost 100% sure of that. I'm
I
almost
think you're right.
100%.
It
So
looks very similar to it, if not. But I
it
think you're
really,
right.
really, I'm pretty sure of that, and I think
Yeah.
that they're all fantastic. With the music was great. Every time I see that or hear that Cyndi Lauper song, and in particular watch the video clip,
Oh,
I think that takes me right back to that
with
as well.
Captain Lou Albano.
Yeah, and the Iron Sheik's in there, and a few other characters. There was some really, really good fun stuff with that, and
You
that
know,
is why that film on a rainy day at home, that is my go-to every single time.
absolutely.
And it doesn't matter how many times I've watched it; it's just so much fun every single time. And it's another one of those films where I see something new every single time as well. I'm like, I love spotting something in the background or something like that, and you're like, ah, cool, didn't know that was there, but that's a
That's
really cool little
that's
heartbreaker
Richard
thing.
Donner for you. He loves to fill
Absolutely.
he loves to fill the frame with information.
Absolutely. And it's why it's such a joyful film to watch. And again, it's an adventure. And it's what you talked about before with Marty McFly, being that character and being on that adventure. You feel like you are with these kids because they
Off the
don't
bat.
know where this is going at all. And they are on that journey and you were on that journey with them.
And there's a
That's why it's
danger.
such a...
It seems like a real,
Absolutely there is.
actual, like palpable danger. Honestly, like
Yeah.
when you see him taking out that switchblade, like that's no longer cute and funny. Like he just took out a knife and threatened a
Yeah.
child with that. Like he wants to use that against this kid, and
Or if
that's
we serve
something that
him his
really adds
tongue.
to it. Yeah, yeah, and then for some reason he sticks his tongue out.
That's not the first time he does that either. It's the other bit where he's the painting's there and he puts his tongue through. Hey, Mackie, can you kiss?
And that's where the licorice kiss. Meh.
You're ruining the painting. You're ruining my joke. That's what I love about that. It feels natural. That's what the conversation would have been,
Yeah,
and that's
it
why I
doesn't
really
seem
love
scripted.
that.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah. So I implore everyone who's watching this now or later as well, if you haven't watched Goonies in a long time, watch it again. It's just so much fun. It's really just one of those movies you just get back to and you're like, oh man, I remember why I love this film so much. And it's still, I think, as relevant now as it once was. And you've talked about before, like the reminiscing sort of things. And I think someone brought up a quote recently I saw that said, it comes a point where in your childhood there's a day where you and your friends
Oh,
go out and hang out and you don't know that that's the last time that's going to happen.
yeah.
And I feel like that's sort of every time I go back to the Goonies, I go back to that sort of era, and I'm like, yeah, it brings me back to that,
Yep.
and that's what's so fun about it.
It's similar to
Man, this
what
is
I
fun.
think it's I don't know the exact line, but it's in Stand By Me. I think it's the last line of the movie where he's like, "Yeah,
I never had friends like I did when I was 12 years old. Does anybody?
does anybody?" Oh,
Um,
God.
and,
Oh.
and and I'm glad you brought that up because that was my bonus one. What does Stand By Me mean to you? Because again, that's another one which was seminal for me as well. Because again, like the Goonies, but on a much darker sort of
Yes,
round, Stand By Me was one of those sort of films which I still watch and gets me every single time because it's not about finding a body, which is what they're supposed to be going for. But
not at all.
really, yeah, it's finding yourself and it's like growing up, and that's in a different sort of way that the Goonies was the adventure. This is like the next step. This is the growing up part of it.
Yeah,
Um,
very good. Yeah, perfect. That's perfectly point.
and I think that for me, when I watched that the first time, I'm like, and I was around about that age, probably getting close to that sort of age. So it's like, that's the kick in. It's like they're sitting around and we're having the conversation, the kind of conversation that feels important before you discover girls. I'm like, that feels right.
Yep.
It's one of those sort of things. And
Damn.
again, incredible performances. So, Kim, tell me, what do you think? What does Stand By Me mean to you?
That was one that I didn't grow up with. The first
Right.
time I saw it was, I think, maybe like 10 or so. I was at a friend's house, and it was the pie scene, the pie eating scene.
Yeah, it
So I
was.
was just like, "What the hell is this movie?" Like I thought it was just I thought it was like a gross horror movie kind of thing. So it took me a while to watch it again after that. For some reason, you think I'd be into that, but I watched it later on, and I realized, oh my God, this movie is something special. But then, as I watched it as a grown man, hearing it through Richard Dreyfuss's voice rather than the kid's perspective, but as a grown man, and as you know, I'm sure it happens to you, we get a little wistful, reminiscent in our mid 40s. We think about all the shit we've been through in almost half a century,
Yeah,
and think of all the friends we've had and lost, and all the adventures we've gone on.
yeah,
And a lot of the things that we love in these movies remind us of those things. And that's a reason why we return to these movies, because it reminds us, yeah, we did stuff like this. It wasn't just sitting at home watching movies. Like we went on adventures. We went in the woods. We got into trouble. Like
absolutely.
I was threatened to get shot at with a rifle once. You know,
Yeah.
that's the kind of shit that's organic. And God damn it, the dude I did that with no longer is with us.
Mm.
And that's the kind of thing that makes me wistful, is that what choice did he make that led to him like drinking himself to death?
Yeah.
And we were best friends. And had I not split off like that, because I was just like, well, I'm a nerd. I don't want to be a cool kid. And it's just like such a weird thing to think about, that like your best friend from the 80s is no longer here. And early on, for some reason, it happened that way. But you know, as I get older, it just makes me think more and more about that time, being a
Mm.
kid, and how special it was. And
Absolutely.
Stand By Me, Goonies, they capture things that you don't really see so much in
And
movies nowadays, unfortunately.
I
And
agree.
maybe that's because it's not happening so much, that kind of stuff. I don't know.
It's a different lifestyle we live at the moment, so it's a completely different sort of thing. But
Yeah.
yeah, and thank you for sharing that as well, Kev. That's really really good. But that's taken us down to our five weeklies for $5 that we've just done
Nice.
there.
Nice. I
But
love it.
but what we're going to look at now is we're actually going to start to look at things with genres before we sort of get through this. But I'm going to look at a couple of different genres. So we might look at things like sci-fi, and I've got action and comedy, and of course kids films, which we will come to as well. I'm
Nice.
not going to do war films because there's enough of that shit going on at the moment. And
Yeah.
instead, I'm going to talk about one type of war film because there were four of these that came out in the 80s. We're talking about Star Wars. And there were
Mm.
four Star Wars movies that came out in the 80s. Most people go, what are you talking about? There was only two. There was Star Wars that came out in the 70s, and there was Empire Strikes Back in 1980, and then Return of the Jedi in 1983. What are the other two? Can you elaborate what the other two of those are?
I would assume that you're talking about the Ewok movies.
That's the ones.
Yeah, I figured. Yeah. Well, first of all, as a kid, you don't know that they're bad, so you're just like, "Wow, more Star Wars, more Ewoks, more creatures,
True.
cool, yay, fun." And
Yeah,
then you get older, you're like, "Oh, yeah, it's not the best, perhaps." But no, that was that we took what we could get. This was back in the day where we had only had 2, 3 movies. So if there was something
that's right.
that had the name Star Wars, yep, give it. I'll eat it all. Give it to me.
And I would probably go out on a limb and actually sort of say, and talking about kids' films in this sort of direction as well, the second Ewok movie is one of the most fucked up and dark films I think I've ever seen in my entire life.
Oh, now I want to watch it.
It is so messed up. Like, for anyone who's not seen this sort of thing, like you think about like kids' films, and you know what you said before, Kevin's exactly right. There is danger and all that sort of stuff, but there's not a danger like a young girl's entire family being murdered in the first 5 minutes of a movie, which is what
That's
happens in
right.
that. So
Oh
like,
my God.
and it's brutal too, and like her parents and her brother are literally just killed by these horrible
Like
creatures
monsters. Oh, which
in the
yeah, that's
first
right.
5 minutes. And it gets a bit weird after that. But like, it's one of those sort of things. It was, I think, it was called Battle of Endor in the US. It was called the Marauders of Endor in Australia. And
Battle of Endor, yes.
yeah, and you watch it now and you're like, that's messed up. That's cruel. It's a weird one. And of course, you know, we had Empire and Jedi, and they were huge, massive deals. And I've always been a big fan of all of the original movies so much. Um, but man, I'm softening more on Return of the Jedi every single year. I don't know what it is. I'm like, I know everyone sort of goes, Star Wars and New Hope and Empire, they're the best, and Jedi, whatever. I'm like, No, Jedi's cool, man. I love
Yeah,
it. I think
yeah.
it's just good fun.
It wasn't so much hated, I feel like, until Kevin Smith kind of put all that
Yeah,
anti Ewok stuff in his movies. But maybe people did find it a little tame. But no, the older I get, I agree. There's a beautiful energy to that movie, even if it's a
yeah.
little uneven. There's stuff that happens in that movie that's the best of any of the Star Wars movies.
Oh, you
Um,
get more aliens, you get more spaceships, you get space battles. It's
Space
cool.
battle.
Yeah,
That's my favorite still. That's my favorite
yeah,
space battle is the
yeah,
over the Battle of Endor.
yeah,
And I think my overall favorite Star Wars moment is Luke telling the Emperor, "I'm a Jedi, like my father before
yeah,
me." Like basically, after all this shit he's been through, he's just standing up to
yeah.
the most powerful being in the galaxy and saying, "Like, nope, fuck you, no, you're no further."
And then
And that's just
Darth
so
is
awesome.
Darth is redeemed at the end of it as well, and it's like, yeah, it's really really cool. Again,
Wonderful.
I find that's another one that I watch regularly and go, I really like that. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think I feel a lot of heart in that, as
yeah,
opposed to the other two films. I don't feel the heart that I feel in Jedi, and very much in the same as like Last Crusade. The heart in Last Crusade, being the third one, is definitely there as opposed to the previous two that came out.
yeah.
And I feel like Jedi sort of feels like that for me.
Warmer. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And that's why I soften to it a little bit more every now and again. And I'm like, you know what? It's probably the one I've probably watched the most recently. I mean, I
Hmm.
watched New Hope and I watched Empire a fair bit, but I probably watched Return of the Jedi more recently than I have with the others. And that's just, I don't know, you just sort of get to that point, you're like, yeah, it's cool. And I'm
It's
okay with
it's
liking
so
it now,
fun.
as opposed to before where it's like, oh, it's the one that you don't like. You know, you always like New Hope and you like Empire better and Jedi's not like, no, I'm comfortable with liking Jedi too. You know, it's
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
it is fun.
I say I love it for crying out loud. The sail barge
Yeah.
assault, that's
Ah.
incredible. And again, talking about scores, that movie score, I I I listened to a lot of those tracks during very sad moments in my life, like
Mhm.
bad things happening, and there's some music in there that can really get you through some tough moments. And John Williams just
Absolutely.
knocked it out of the park with that score. The death
Yeah.
of Yoda. Oh my
Oh,
God. God
yeah.
Almighty. That is, yeah, that's a beautiful, beautiful score.
Oh, the Luke and Leia score as well. There's some beautiful parts to
When
that.
that came back in Last Jedi, oh my God, I
I
was
know.
so happy.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just beautiful to listen to as well. And you're right. But yeah, I wanted to bring up Star Wars because you can't talk the 80s without Star Wars. It's kind of
Yeah,
an important little thing. But another person we can't talk about the 80s without mentioning is Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yes.
Now, for guys like us, Arnie was huge. Like,
Yep.
and not just a huge human being, but like he was the epitome of the action hero type sort of thing. Now, don't get me wrong, there were some other great action heroes in the 80s, and
Sure.
I've had conversations with a few people about this as well. But for me, it was always Arnie. I like Sylvester Stallone, I like Jean Claude Van Damme. Harrison Ford is somewhat of an action star, but he's more than
Different.
that, I guess. But if
He,
you talk
he's,
about straight out action stars, yeah. But for me, it was Schwarzenegger.
yeah.
Because, and I was saying this to a good friend yesterday. English is not his first language. So
Right.
he has to rely on his physicality to tell the story a lot of time. And sometimes it might make him a little bit more goofy, but I actually think it gives him a really good performance every time he actually does it. So let's run through a couple of the 80s hits of Schwarzenegger, and let's talk about
Yes,
that. So
please.
I loved him in the Terminator. I think he's great, but I don't think that's his best one of the 80s.
Nah.
For me, the best two would be Predator
Mm-hmm.
and The Running Man.
Yes to number one. Number two, maybe because Commando has
Commandos,
such a real fucked up sense of humor that really
it
adds a
does.
lot to that. Oh my God,
Yeah.
it's so funny. But he is
Remember
kind
when I
of
told you I'd kill you last? I lied.
I
Don't wake
lied.
my friend. He's dead tired. This is what we're
He's
talking
a
about
little
before with
he is a little more
quotables.
stiff in that one. But yeah, he's charming in Running Man, actually. He's
Yeah.
very You could see. I think that was the first thing they did after Terminator. I think
Yep.
that's the first thing he did, and right off the bat, you could say he's got the heart, even though he doesn't really have the performance. He's like, damn it, I'm not going to fight on these innocent people, and that alone, yeah, I'm sold,
Yeah.
and I've loved him in pretty much everything I've seen him in, but Predator, that's my number one. Well, no, True Lies is my number one, but '80s
Good call.
Predator's number one.
Yeah, I love Predator is one of those ones that I again will go back to and watch so often, and I love the backstory to the way they were making it as well.
Yeah,
Because you've got Jesse Ventura, who they were swapping out his costume to make him feel like his arms were getting bigger, so that Schwarzenegger was like making. I want to make him feel like he's getting bigger, and he's got the bigger biceps than me, but we're just making his costume smaller, and then they measured their biceps and shit like that. It's just man, the guy
oh
that
my
played
god,
Sonny, they actually had to have a security guard who would watch after him because he was so unpredictable. They didn't know what he was going to do.
wow.
Yeah. And Carl Weathers, who is just absolutely awesome in that, and has again, let's talk quotable 80s stuff. How often do you say, Dylan, you son of a
You
bitch, when
son
you
of a
catch it
bitch.
up? So many times you do that. You just do. And even the creation of the character of the Predator, I think, is absolutely awesome. He's just such a cool character,
Yeah,
and the way that they created it and they made all of the mandibles and all that sort of stuff. Like, it was just thinking outside the box and doing something, and very much in the same way that you have something like the film Jaws, where you don't see the shark until the end.
right.
Same sort of thing with Predator. You don't see it. And that, again, came from the same problems they were having with Jaws, where the shark wasn't working. Well, they didn't have a Predator. In fact, Jean-Claude Van Damme was the original Predator.
Yeah, in a
And
little
he's just a
pink
very
outfit.
little man. And so they got eventually they got Kevin Peter Hall, who, as we'll touch on this a bit later on, played Harry in Harry and the Hendersons.
Ah,
So he's a huge dude. But again, they created a really, really cool character, and that's what I really kind of like about Predator. And that's why I feel like '80s Arnold Predator is my favorite in there. But there are still some other ones that I still got to throw some shout outs to as well. Raw Deal, um,
that one,
and
I
Red
don't
Heat.
know super well. I don't know that one super well, actually. I don't
And Red
think.
Heat was the other one with John
I've
Belushi, where he played the KGB agent.
seen it like
Um,
once.
Yeah, and Red Sonja was like another break off of like a Conan type. So and Conan was great.
Yeah, yeah.
There's that
Oh, yeah.
scene where Conan punches a camel, and it's one of the funniest things. Or he's been crucified, and there's a vulture biting his shoulder, so he just bites the. Yeah, it's just it's very very strange.
He's incredible.
Um, but of course, in Commando, and then finishing off that decade with Twins
Oh,
with
yeah.
Danny DeVito,
Oh,
which
yeah.
was just, and I believe they were going to make a sequel to that called Triplets that was going to have Eddie Murphy in it just for something even more bizarre. It's
Thank God.
just,
Thank God that didn't happen. Who
I
knows?
think that would have worked.
They may
I
still
think that
do
would
it.
have worked.
Who knows? They may
But
still do it. I hope not, though.
no, I think they're done. I think they need
Yeah.
to sort of put some of those things away with them. But yeah, cool. All right. Well, this is sort of taking us to a bit of a roundabout sort of thing. So I'm just going to rattle off a couple of films that I think are very notable mentions as well. And I want you to add in a couple as well. So talking action films, ones that I loved in the 80s, Rambo 1 and 2,
Mm.
Rocky 3 and 4, Beverly Hills Cop, because Beverly Hills Cop is absolutely awesome,
Oh, yeah.
Lethal Weapon. And it's funny to think now that we are both older than what's his name?
Oh,
Donald
Murtaugh,
Glover.
Danny
Yeah,
Glover is.
yeah. We're now older than he is, and at the start of the film, he's like, "I'm too old for this shit." I'm like,
Yeah. He's like
"Dude, we're
40.
older than you now."
Yeah,
Um,
no, fuck.
Top Gun is another one from the 80s.
Mm.
Again, great goddamn soundtrack.
Oh, yeah.
Just a really fun movie. Mad Max 2 and 3. And another one that is an action film that I love more every time I watch it because it's so ridiculous. I didn't watch the remake, but Roadhouse with Patrick
Huh.
Swayze, which was a rad film. So, is there any other action ones that I haven't mentioned there that you would probably throw into a mix that you might like?
I feel like we covered most of the good ones because all the other ones that are popping into mind are from the 90s. Because I'm trying to think
Yeah,
now, I'm thinking of like when I think of 80s, I think of comedy a whole lot rather than
yeah,
action for some
yeah.
reason. Action wise in the 80s, beyond what we've already mentioned, I can't really think of anything in particular. But since you did mention Lethal Weapon, that that film series is just pure joy. That I
Yeah.
really hope that they're lying when they're saying they're going to make a part five. It'll be wrong. Don't do it.
We
But
don't need that.
those four that they made are just they're so fucking fun. They're
Are
just
they?
so magical. And they honestly, I think they get more fun as you go. They don't get
I
better
agree.
as you
Mm.
go, but they get more fun as you go. And by the end of the fourth one, where they just say, no, we're a family, and that's the end of the movie, and then it cuts to the just pictures from all four movies behind the scenes. It just touches the heart because you see how much they actually care about each other, like on a movie set. Like I know it's like silly for us to care as in the audience, like who gives a shit if they really care about each other, but it kind of helps. It kind of adds to the
Yeah.
whole thing because when you see them pretending to love each other on the screen, then you see they actually love each other in real life. It just makes the movie even better, and that's something that those Lethal Weapon movies. Oh man, it touches on something special. Those, and
Yeah.
it's the chemistry because of that. It's the chemistry between Kooky Mel Gibson and Danny Glover. They are just so damn good together that it's like kind of alarming that
It is.
they are just so good together to the point where when they show when in Maverick, when Danny Glover shows up in Maverick, that's my favorite
That cool.
cameo in anything ever because you hear
Yeah.
that guitar go bling, bling, and he just pulls down to look at each other, and then oh God, it's just so stupid but brilliant, and just that
Love it.
moment you could see, yeah, they could make movies for the rest of their lives barely talking to each other, and it'd be
Yeah.
hilarious. I love those
So
movies so
much
much.
fun. They are awesome. All right. Well, you brought up before comedy, and we're
Mm.
sort of coming towards this. There's so many great comedy films. Um, Ones that sort of stick out to me, and you were talking about first crushes and sort of things. So Ferris Bueller is one of the ones that
Oh
I just
yeah,
and Mia Sarah, who was married to Sean Connery's son and is now currently married to Brian, Jim Henson's son. I'm like, cool.
huh?
What a life that is. But
Not
like,
bad.
she was first celebrity crush for me.
Nice.
And Ferris Bueller's Day Off is one of those ones, again, it's a perfect movie as far as I'm concerned. I
Yep.
love that thing
Yep.
so much. It's such a good, fun movie with that.
I remember
Great.
seeing that in theaters, and the part where Ferris is singing "Shake It Up, Baby."
Yeah.
Pretty much every kid in the audience just went into the middle of the theater into the aisle and just started dancing around to the song, as if like we were like as if it was part of the movie. Like we all just got up and started dancing around, and it was just so fun. And that movie just really nails the bullshitness of being a kid and having to go to school and all the
Yeah.
silly adventures you can get into. That's one that you watch where that'll make you wistful. That'll make you wistful for sure. Just
Yeah.
thinking about like skipping school and hanging out with your buddies, man. Those were fun days. Those were really special days.
They were, and again, the character of Ed Rooney as well, the principal trying to catch him the entire time. The fact he's calling himself Abe Froman, the hot dog king of Chicago. It's just
Sausage
great
King of
fun.
Chicago.
That's right. Um, it's just such a fun movie across the board, and again, one that you can just sit back and doesn't matter how many times you watch it, it's just fun across the board. You know what's coming, but it's just exciting to watch that. And there were so many great films like that across the board from that era. I think you're right when you actually say that the '80s really got comedy really, really, really well, because it was fun. It was also dangerous at the same time as well, in some sort of respects. And some of the ones that I go through here, like I've got things like The Naked Gun, The Three Amigos, which I
Oh
still
God,
think
yes.
is hysterical, Airplane, Caddyshack, Police Academy. The first few of those that were fantastic, and Bobcat Goldthwait in 2 and 3. It's just, yeah.
Up until the last
Spaceballs.
two. Up until the last two, they're
Yeah,
all funny. I think.
they are
Yeah.
absolutely. Spaceballs is another one that I love
Oh
from that
yeah.
era too, and and I'm so excited for the new one because I think they're going to hit the mark on that, because I don't think, yeah, let's hope
I
that's right.
hope. I hope.
Yeah, One that's an interesting comedy that I loved as a kid, and thinking about it from a kid's point of view and watching it now, it makes me uncomfortable.
Hmm.
Is Revenge of the Nerds.
Ah, yeah,
Um,
yeah,
I loved as a kid because I thought it was a fun movie, but now you look at it and you're like, no, he flat out raped a girl in that, and
yeah.
no one sort of bought anything of it at the time. And I suppose you're sort of too young to sort of work that out at the time when you watch it. But like, I watched that one and loved it as a kid. I loved the soundtrack to it. I liked the characters, and I thought everything was sort of working. But it makes me icky now to watch that one.
Even as a kid, for some reason, and it didn't have anything to do with that. There's just something about that movie, the first one, that as a kid I was just like,
Mm,
nah, I don't like this one. But the
yeah,
second one
yeah,
in
there's
Miami
some
at
parallels.
the Hotel Coral Essex, or
Yep.
Hotel Oral Sex, as they put it in the movie, that one tickles me pink. Actually, that one I like a whole lot. But yeah, that first one, there's really a want to revisit the Revenge of the Nerds movie,
Yeah,
but.
yeah, and that's fair. And I thought I'd bring that one up only because I remembered it quite a lot from my time in the 80s. But
Yeah.
there were some other great ones as well that Coming to America
Oh yeah.
is so goddamn
That's
funny.
my favorite.
That
That's
is
my favorite
brilliant.
Eddie Murphy.
It's so good. It's
Yeah.
such a good film. What have I got here? Three Men and a Baby, which
Oh
I
nice.
still think is funny. I watched that
Yeah.
again recently, and I hadn't watched it in a while. I watched that and Look Who's Talking. And man,
You
I
did
had a
it. You
good
brought
time
it up.
watching both of them.
You brought it up. I was going to bring up Look Who's Talking because that's one of my favorite comedies from the 80s.
So good.
I,
Yeah.
I say shit from that movie daily. I don't know why,
Yeah.
but it's just ingrained in my head. I love that movie so much. That's actually the reason why I moved to New York. I kind of already sounded like Bruce Willis, and people would say, "Hey, where are you from?" And I say, "I'm from Clearwater, Florida." And they say, "What are you talking about?" It's like, "Hey, it's Bruce Willis's fault, not mine. It's not my fault." And all I would take is something from that movie. No,
Just
wait.
triggers it.
Was it that movie? Oh yeah, yeah. When he just first gets born to get into the accent, it's like he's looking at his hands, just going, "I don't get it. I just don't get it, and I don't like it. That's all it takes." And now I'm stuck in the accent. So yeah, I'll do the rest of the accent like Bruce Willis here.
Yeah,
But the
totally.
other one you said was Three Men and a Baby. All I
Yeah.
have to say about that movie is do 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 do.
Doo-doo. You got it, man. Man, I love that film. It's such a
Hmm.
good movie. But again, this is indicative of that particular era as well, where they were making films that were fun. You're allowed to have fun with them.
Yeah.
The premise might be silly, at the end of the day, but it's just fun, and you
So
can
is
walk
life.
away from it and go, I just enjoyed myself a hell of a lot.
Yeah. Exactly.
And that's why you have other things. I've got obviously Blues Brothers was another one.
Right.
Weird Science, which I absolutely loved. Weird Science as a kid,
That's my
such a
favorite
stupid
John
film.
Hughes.
I'll agree with that 100%. A
Yeah, that's
hundred
my
percent.
favorite
I
John
think
Hughes
it's
movie. It's
it's
just so
just such a
stupid but
fun movie.
hilarious. The
Yeah,
part where, oh my God, just Robert Downey Jr.'s face alone when he's just
yeah.
looking at
Kelly
shit, what's
LeBrock.
her name? Kelly LeBrock.
Kelly
And
LeBrock.
he's just like this. It's just so fucking fantastic.
And
Oh,
when
I love those movies so
she
much.
turns Bill Paxton into a giant turd, it's just like, what the hell? He just his tongue gets out and he gets the flag as I disgust myself.
Oh my God. Oh man.
A dirty pork sausage served on a dirty ashtray. It's just,
He
it's a
puked,
great film.
you die. I miss Bill Paxton so much. I was so
Sorry,
upset when he died because
I was,
I mean,
yeah,
yeah, he kind of owned the '80s too. Him and that
absolutely,
Aliens. My
yeah.
God.
But that was a fun film, and like, another one on here was Bachelor Party with Tom
Oh yeah,
Hanks, and we'll get to Tom
that
Hanks a
one
little bit
is
later.
not really talked about too much. That one is
It's not,
so ridiculous, but also like a good rated R movie. That's
yeah,
something that used to happen all the time back in the '80s. Was a good rated R comedy, and
yeah.
they would be hilarious. And they may push the envelope on some things nowadays, but I feel like the
Oh,
last time I
completely.
watched that with my buddy Rich, we both laughed our asses off. It was just
Yeah,
like
it's a
way
funny
funnier than we
movie.
thought it would remain. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's one of those ones, and I think this is where I'm leading with this at the moment, is because the next one, Tom Hanks, I wanted to bring up was The Burbs, which is such a good film. It's just
It's
another good
brilliant
film.
on a unique level.
Yeah,
that I feel like even though I love it, there's levels I don't appreciate it on yet because I see that there's so much happening in that movie that's so brilliant, and it's just kind of it's being a satire of so many different things that I can only take
mm,
so much at once. But
true.
Joe Dante, as a filmmaker, my God, I wish he made more movies for crying out loud
Yeah.
because the stuff we got from him in the 80s alone is just magnificent. But yeah, the Burbs, oh my God. It's just so
No,
wacky.
it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
But
I,
the
I,
last one I'm going to bring up in this comedy section over here is going to be the we're sort of coming to the end here now.
I know.
It's Tom Hanks in Big.
I love that movie so much. That
Yeah.
is a one of the reasons I moved to New York is because of Big. I did not expect it to be the crazy, dirty, shitty New York that you saw in that movie, but there are things that happen in that movie that I was just like, oh boy, this seems like a real interesting place to live. That Big, Ghostbusters, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles all
Yeah,
were
cool.
big factors in me wanting to move to the city, just of like what a weird, incredible, weird adventure this might be. But in Big, you just go on this different kind of adventure, and it's just so fun to see the city through kids' eyes that I still kind of sometimes do. I still see the city through like little 13-year-old me's eyes as if I still lived here, as if I lived here back then. And there's things I quote from that movie too. There's a part where he's going to that cheap motel room for the first time in Times Square, and he hears like the gunshot, and the guy next to him is going, "No, no, no, no." And I say that to my kitchen guys all the time, and they have no idea why. And it's just one of those things that just it's a part of me because
Yeah.
I just love that movie so much.
And you've got so many iconic things that happen in there as well. And again, when we were talking about like characters like Marty McFly and the kids from the Goonies as well, you're on Josh's journey from the start of that. And whether he's
Yep.
little guy or he's the big version of himself, you're still living there. He doesn't know what's happening next. It's literally you're going through it.
Yeah.
And for a kid to be like, well, what if I was big? That's really kind of cool. But like, you have iconic things like playing that floor keyboard in the toy store. Man, I love that scene. But even the
I did
rhyme that
actually when I used
says,
to do my sketch comedy show, I did a take on that
yeah,
where I played a guy who worked at FAO Schwartz, and this couple from like Midwest somewhere comes in, and they're like, "Oh, it's the keyboard from Big. Oh, honey, let's do the thing." And I just I did the song from the movie just on my piano, and the two comedians were dancing around on stage like this and this and this, acting like idiots. And then by the end of it, they're like, "Wow. I bet you haven't seen that today, huh?" It was like, no, homeless guy did that with his dead dog about 15 minutes ago. You got his blood all over your shoes, and the audience just fucking loved it. It was fantastic. I'll have to put that
fantastic.
online someday.
Do it. Love to see it. Oh man, I love that film. I think that it's another one of those 80s films that just has so much heart to it.
Yeah,
And it's just, I guess, what we were talking about before, we've gone through a couple of different genres here as well. But I think finding in the comedy and the kids action type sort of adventure type sort of films is really what at the heart of the 80s for me it felt like, and I know for yourself as well. And I think that Big was a good one to sort of finish that section on as well, because I think that that really hit a mark,
yeah,
and
definitely.
still does. And still does, you know, and again, another one of those ones that I think has so much watchability, which I think that newer films don't necessarily have as much. Like, I've seen it once. I don't need to watch that like 4 or 5 times a year. Whereas
Exactly.
I will watch Big 4 or 5 times a year because I
Right.
just enjoy it. It's just a good fun movie.
It's a beautiful movie. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
It really is. It really is. So, like, we've gone really long time here, Kev, but I've just got a couple little bits and pieces I want to sort of get to before we get to our final question sort of stuff
Sure,
in
sure,
here.
sure.
So, the last thing I want to talk about is kids' movies because this is what we sort of came to, and I've got a list of some really interesting
This is
ones that
where
I
it
love.
this is where we started, I believe, talking
Yeah.
about 80s movies was okay. Okay, good. Okay.
So this is the what we're. I'm going to go through a list of the ones that I think meant a lot to me at the time, and throw in more because there are lots of things that are in here. But for me, the '80s sort of was fantasy adventure sort of stuff. And so I'd probably put things like Labyrinth, Dark Crystal, scarily enough, Return to Oz, which
Oh
is one of the
yeah.
most terrifying films I think I've ever seen. I've got Masters of the Universe with Dolph Lundgren, which was just a
Yep.
bizarre and strange one, which has your Courtney Cox in there as well.
And a really good score. Very good score in that.
Absolutely, it does. Damn right.
Yep.
Pee Wee.
Uh, I didn't know how much that meant to me because I mean I love that movie. I love Pee Wee, and when he died,
Yeah,
like something kind of hit me like, oh, wait, he was big to me. He was
yeah,
really big to me. And then I watched that night Pee Wee's Big Adventure like through a river of tears. Like I just was just like, oh my God. I forgot that meant yeah, that means this he means so much to me. That I love. Oh my God, like there's so much that I have grown up because like just doing things in my own life because of silly things in that movie.
yeah.
And it's just such a and he is a child in that movie for sure. So that definitely does
Absolutely.
fit this part. And it's just such oh God, it's just such a magical thing. And there's a darkness to that movie too, big time. There's a big time darkness, especially that creepy ass dream he has with
Yeah,
all the clowns and shit. That is so weird. But that one it just it does a lot like it does the road trip adventure like kind of like a goofy Americana thing. It's just it's a very special movie, and I'm really it's really interesting that that's what started off Tim Burton's career was this kind of
oh,
like
yeah,
the beautiful little homage to the Route 66, you know, kind of going across the country and seeing crazy shit. Um, what was the one I was thinking of? Shit. Oh, Flight of the Navigator.
oh, that's on the list.
Flight of the Navigator.
Why the
That one,
Navigator?
when you brought up kids' movies of the '80s, that really Goonies and Flight of the Navigator is what comes up.
Yeah,
That in particular because it was set in Florida, not
yeah,
like not where I was nearby. I would kind of sometimes visit where it was set, but just to have him going down a highway in Florida that I've actually gone down was just so special. And the concept of the movie itself was just kind of heavy and dark for a kids movie of this kid going to the
absolutely.
future and seeing his parents get old and his brother get old and not he doesn't know who are these people at this point. And it's just it's that also it's dark, there's a darkness to that, and
Yeah.
you get Pee-wee Herman's voice as the as the voice of the spaceship to bring that all together. Oh my God. And that oh my God, once he does the laugh
Yeah.
as the oh that's something else. That I would not mind coming back. Not as a reboot,
I,
but well, I don't know if I wanted
it's
to come back because he's gone now. So who'd do the voice? Nah, never mind.
but that's an interesting one, Fly the Navigator, because again on that sort of sci-fi sort of kids sort of thing, there's another one that sort of feels like it's a little bit forgotten, but I absolutely adored as a kid and could potentially be redone, but I don't know how they go about. But it was called The Last Starfighter.
I was gonna say I was gonna bring it up if you didn't. No,
Oh
I,
man, I
I
love
already
that
have
film.
I have the idea for the sequel in my head. Is that
Yeah,
he
right.
needs Alex is out there. He needs to recruit someone else because there's a new bad armada coming or some shit. So he comes up with a new video game that is released into Xboxes and stuff or phones, I guess, and whoever's best
Yeah.
gets recruited, and it all goes from there. And it could be so cool. That again, the score is so
Oh,
awesome.
absolutely. Yeah,
There is like a slimy creepiness to that movie
there
that they
is.
really it's more than Star Wars goes for. It's kind of like it has an ick factor for sure.
It's got a very organic sort of feel to it,
Yeah.
which some of the special effects I think are a little bit lacking, and I don't think that they finished off the space effects as much as they probably could have. But the practical effects, like the creature makeups, and particular when he clones the beta unit sort of thing as well, and
So
like that
cool.
is really messed up. But
Oh,
what a
it's
great
so
film!
cool.
And again, it's not as well known as it probably should be.
Yeah.
I think it ranks really high as a great '80s movie. And I'm glad you were thinking the same thing as well.
I love
That's
the
really
score.
cool.
Again, I love the score for that one too. Actually, I was listening to this one of the tracks on the way home. That's a very special movie to me. That one, there's a lot of stuff in that that does stuff that Star Wars can't because he's he's here, he's doing that, he's stuck here, Alex Rogan,
Yeah.
and there's just things in that story that everyone can relate to. And by the end of that movie, where I don't know, not to spoil a movie from 1984, but where the beta unit sacrifices himself, and the girl just looks into the wind and goes, "I love you, Alex Rogan." No, I'm getting chills just thinking about it,
I
man. It's just
know.
such a beautiful '80s moment of just like cheese, but it works. It works so well. Oh God, the '80s. Oh,
Absolutely. I know. And again, on the sci-fi end of the 80s, we've also got one we didn't bring up here, which is a major important one, was E.T.
oh God Almighty. Yeah, that
And again,
is.
that will
I
still
don't
hit
know
you
if
in the
that
heart every single time. And that score is just, it's up there,
top
man.
top
It's one of
marks.
the most incredible ones. Yeah.
Top marks. I don't know if sometimes I feel like that is Spielberg's. I don't want to say best movie because Schindler's List is his best movie, but beyond Schindler's List, I think E.T. is really hard to touch ever for him because
Yeah.
it has kind of every genre in one movie. It has every genre in that movie. It has comedy, it has adventure, it has sci-fi, it has horror, it has
Yeah.
romance, it
It
has.
does.
I mean, maybe even let's say Western with the bike ride and all that shit. I don't
Oh,
know.
yeah.
It just
Yeah.
it really nails everything in a way that is just kind of ridiculous for such a young filmmaker to have done because he was young, for
Oh,
Christ's
yeah.
sake. That was just like his fourth movie, and he
Yep.
did that. My God! And
And of
it,
course,
I saw
there's
it
so
with
many
my
things that are
wife
cool. Yeah.
with the live orchestra thing, like you did with Back to the Future, which I've done also with my wife. But we saw E.T. at Lincoln Center, and it seemed like half the audience had never seen it before.
Wow.
And their kids were just like transfixed, like they had no idea what was happening. And when all these important marks were hitting, that entire place was just just crying.
Yeah.
And this was, I don't know, 40 years on. That movie is just so special to the point
It
where
is.
140 years from now, it's still going to be, if we're still around,
There's a
there's going to be people talking about it still.
there's so many great things about that. And again, talk about Spielberg as a filmmaker. He doesn't show the faces of the adults except for the mother through the film. And there's even a scene with the principal. I don't know if you've seen the deleted scene
Yeah, of course.
with Harrison Ford,
Yeah.
who
What do
plays
you
the
know?
principal. Because his wife wrote it, wasn't it? Melissa Matheson. She wrote
Yeah, that's right.
Vincent. Um, and it's just such a really cool film. And I think I've seen someone made a mock-up of E.T. Part 2, where it turns out that E.T. was the only nice one, and all the other ones were all completely evil. I'll see if I can find it for you. And they've used real footage and some other footage, but yeah, all the other ETs are really evil, and then the one from the movie has to come back and save everyone. It's just,
I'm in. That
like,
sounds cool.
if you made that, I'd actually really watch that. I
That
reckon
doesn't
it'd be
sound bad.
sick.
Yeah.
Would be fun. So on that, and I don't know why I've added Mac and Me on there, which was like the budget version of ET. Um, yeah, that was, yeah.
Oh my God.
It's like when you rented ET from the video shop and you got Mac and Me as well, or you couldn't get ET, so you rented Mac and Me. It's like, uh, you're not getting
Pretty
McDonald's for
nice.
dinner. We got McDonald's at home. It's like, but that was fun. Never Ending Story is another one that is a hard getter, and again, watched that one again the other day, and yeah, I relate to that one so much. It's just
It's all
such a
about
cool film.
it's all about sadness. It's all about
Yeah,
like embracing and dealing with depression and sadness and horrible things that happen to you, which is something that can go over your head as a kid, but when you're adult and you
yeah,
watch it, you're just like, holy shit, they really,
and also,
they went for it in this movie. Oh my God.
yeah,
And
but
it's
and also
barely a kid movie.
the bit where Artax, yeah, I won't even go.
Fucking forget about
um,
it. The worst part of the movie, though, is when the fucking kid is eating the apple and then eats the
oh,
entire apple. He eats the entire apple. He eats the apple core. Like, come on.
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
no, no, you shouldn't do
uh,
that. You shouldn't do
no.
that. um, so I've got here Explorers, which is another one very much like that.
Yeah.
Just a really cool film. And for anyone who hasn't seen The Explorers, it's another kids' adventure film. Ethan Hawke and River Phoenix in that one, who are just fantastic. And it's kids who basically, one kid has a dream and transfers what he sees in the dream into building a spaceship. and ends up in outer space and meeting aliens. It's just a really, really cool film.
If I
Really
had to
cool.
pick one movie that captured my hopes and dreams of being a kid, it's The Explorers.
Yeah.
There's a sequence in which they're all like building the ship, and the music that it's set to, I get emotional just thinking about it because the last time I watched it, I was just really I was tearing up because it sounds like childhood adventure. It sounds like
Yeah.
hope. It sounds like not knowing what's happening next, but you're still gonna go for it. It's something that Jerry Goldsmith, he was so good at making like positive sounding music, but this is the best. It's the best theme he ever did, I think,
True.
honestly, other than First Contact for Star Trek, of course. But
Yeah.
well, Jerry Goldsmith was amazing, but in particular, the Explorers theme. If you're having a bad day, just listen to the Explorers theme. You're going to get off your ass and you're going to do what you got to do.
Yeah. And it's such a joy to watch as well, and just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So there's some really, really cool ones. I've got a couple of notable mentions in here before we finish up this section. Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Oh man,
Again, how do you not have fun watching that?
it's
I've got the
brilliant.
Monster Squad, which again is another one that was very, very underrated, much darker than the Goonies, but very much along the same sort of lines there.
Wolfman's
We
got
have
nards.
Wolfman's got nards. Phoebe the Phoebe. There's so many great things in there, and that was originally supposed to be, I think Liam Neeson was supposed to play Dracula in that originally, which would have been an interesting sort of call. But the
Interesting.
monsters in that look really, really cool, especially the creature from Black Lagoon. They actually did that
Incredible.
fantastic.
Yeah.
So cool. That's always another one that is definitely worth a watch. What have I got here? Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Oh man. Opening weekend of Batman. That came out the
Yeah,
same weekend, and Batman was sold out, so people went to go see that and realized, wait,
yeah,
shit, the movie's really good too. That is that's a really fun movie.
it is a
That
fun
kind of
movie.
special effects, I watched that movie and get mad because we don't get that anymore. It's just
No
so
one does
unique,
that.
so
Yeah,
innovative in that they were just like, how are we going to do this? I don't know, let's do it. No one's done it before, let's try. And it
we'll
wasn't
give it a
like
try.
flick click on a mouse. It was just like real practical effects doing things, building sets,
Yeah,
and you could see some of them at MGM Studios in Orlando back in like the late 80s, early 90s. And they even had a ride where you could be on the back of the fly and act like
wow.
you're riding him
Oh,
in the
that's
movie. It was just incredible. That was
well,
so cool. And I believe that started off with a Who Framed Roger Rabbit or a Roger Rabbit cartoon. I'm pretty
I
sure that
feel
started
like
off.
that's right too, if I remember that correctly.
And that was
Yeah,
so cool. I love
yeah,
that they did that.
so much fun. Yeah, Harry and the Hendersons was another one, which I thought is just a cool film. And like, we don't get enough Bigfoot in movies. I've seen a couple of Bigfoot movies, and
Right?
most of them are terrible.
Yeah.
But that was just a cool movie. Like, yeah, why don't we see more of that sort of stuff?
Oh,
And the Karate Kid.
oh, for
Did
crying
you
out
ever do
loud.
that one?
Yeah.
There's so many good. The Boy Who Could Fly, another very small, not well known film, but that was a really
Love
cool
it.
one.
I
Love
love
that.
that
And
movie. I mean, I love that in particular because I was around Fred Savage's age, and
yep,
every GI Joe figure he had, I had, and it was also dark. That movie, that movie was
oh yeah,
very dark,
was never.
but beautiful. Also, it was
And
beautiful.
so and so the last one I've got on this list in here, and I know there's so many that we've missed, and we'd love to get back to it, but you may remember this one called The Wizard,
Of course,
which was such
California.
California. For anyone who's not seen that, it is literally it's the first time we saw the Power Glove as well.
And
It was
Mario 3.
video
First time we
games.
saw Mario 3.
That's it. So it was video games. It was cross country. It was just seeing Americana as well. And
Yeah.
from someone from Australia, it was really cool for us to sort of see that. It's like, oh
Oh,
man,
that's awesome.
it's the country. It's awesome.
Oh,
So it
that's
was
pretty
really
cool.
really cool. So because we here in Australia, it's we are not too dissimilar to you, but like a long road for us. You don't see a town for a very very long time.
Right.
It's so we don't have the stops in between.
Right.
But that's where it goes. That and I haven't brought up a lot of Australian 80s films. There are some great ones as well. Crocodile Dundee's, of
Of
course.
course.
absolutely brilliant. And Frog Dreaming, which was another one with Henry Thomas, which was
Yep.
another really, really cool one.
Here it was called The Quest. Here it was called
The
The Quest.
Quest, right? Very, very, very
And
cool.
that movie was badass. I wanted to be him in that movie. Oh, that was cool.
Oh yeah,
Except for the
that is
parents being
cool.
killed and all that.
Yeah, that was rough. Kevin, this has been absolutely awesome. I've really enjoyed, and we've probably gone a fair way over what we would usually in this sort of thing. But man, we are
Oh,
just
wow, look at that.
keeping
Yeah.
on with that. But it felt like this has just gone in 2 seconds. But man, there are so many films we've missed, but I think we've covered a really good chunk of some really good fun and got a great insight into Kev Indiana Jones. And thank you for being my guest on your show. Nice to be
Thank
the
you for
one that's
having me on
asking the
my show.
questions. Well, it's nice to be the one asking the questions. It's nice to hear you sort of like, now you're doing this. That's really
I
cool.
love it.
I'm really
I
enjoying that
loved it.
part. So I'm going to do the final question as a two-part question
Okay.
here. So now that we've covered off all of these movies and things that we've sort of done here, it's Friday night. It's in the 80s. You're going to get 5 weekly movies for $5. Which 5 weekly movies are you going to recommend to 8-year-old Kevin?
Like that he hadn't seen? Okay.
You're going to recommend them to him, and maybe he's seen them, or maybe you're going to say, "Yeah, let's pretend that he hasn't had a chance to see these ones, and you're getting an opportunity to recommend them." And it can be from any era or anything like that as well, because of course Kevin's seen all of these films. But which ones are you going to encourage him to go and watch again?
Beyond the ones that he already knows to see and love,
Hmm.
Stand By Me for sure would be one because I didn't grow up with that one. And that would have been a really good
Yeah,
one to grow up with. Buckaroo Banzai.
yeah,
That
right.
one I did not grow up on at all. That would have been a whole lot of fun because that's just a goofy ass movie. Along with Flash Gordon, very
Oh,
goofy, very, very
yeah,
goofy movie. I didn't see that until later in the 80s, but I mean, later till I was like in my 20s. And it was just so fun. I had no idea that that existed. It was just such a ridiculous thing. Um, RoboCop. I did not grow up on RoboCop. So
such a
I
good
would say,
movie.
yes, watch RoboCop for Christ's sakes, you idiot. What is wrong with you? Why don't you want to watch RoboCop? Because I was in my 20s when I first watched RoboCop, and I was like,
Wow,
look
how
at
old
all
is
this
this?
gore. Did that guy just drive through another guy? What is
He's
wrong?
been
Why didn't I
melted with
watch
all
this
the
till I was
acids and
25? Oh my God. That was incredible. And then number 5, it would be, you know what? You know, kid, you know how you want to rent that Nightmare on Elm Street? Get it. Rent that. Get your mom, tell her you won't have nightmares. Because that's still my favorite horror franchise.
oh, absolutely.
And that movie that still to this day is creepy as shit when his arms extend and just start
Oh,
scraping the walls. Jesus Christ. And then when it goes up into the ceiling and all the, oh God, it's just unbelievable. And then Johnny Depp just explodes with blood. Yeah. Oh,
sucked
that's a
into the
good
bed.
top 5 for young Kevin. Because he's gonna be
Yeah,
like, yeah, I know about the Goonies. I don't need to know about that. But those other things I just
I
mentioned,
like it.
that would be
Fantastic.
pretty cool.
And so the second part of this question is, what message do you have for him?
Oh, my question. Okay, good. Good. I was hoping you were going to ask me that. Um, this is something that hit me when my grandfather died. It was hard to get through, but then I had this realization, well, everything you've gone through, you've gotten through. So my message would be to my young self, whatever you're going to go through, you're going to get through.
I like it. Very good message. Very,
It's,
very good message.
it would be good to know. It would be good to hear that as a kid and
And
be like,
thanks for
okay.
sharing that, Tim. And thank you for sharing that as well. I really appreciate that.
Oh, of course.
No, I mean, Kev, this has been an absolute pleasure to do this. I know this is breaking from format for the way we actually sort of do things a little
I
bit,
love
but
it.
and I hope everyone could understand what I'm saying. I know the accent gets a little
They
bit thick
better have.
sometimes, but it's been an absolute joy to actually do this. It's been really good fun, and just to reminisce. And I know we've missed a whole stack of movies that we probably could have talked about, but man, we've gone a really long time so far. But man, I've enjoyed the hell out of this, man. I hope you have as well,
You
because
better believe it.
yeah, This is good. This is good.
This has been so fun, man. Thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate you taking the horn and letting me kind of have a stepping back and not having to write anything down and just kind of going with this flow. And you did such a beautiful job that you should have indeed the Just Indiana Jones show. You are you mean so much to me, buddy. You mean beyond just the indie stuff. You mean so much as a friend and a brother, and I like we barely even talk about indie stuff, and I really that's the thing I really appreciate is that we have that kind of friendship, and I know that it's just going to bloom and blossom and go even further. You're the best, dude. I know we're going to meet one day in person.
Oh, indeed.
Um, Thank you so much for these questions. It was so fun. I really appreciate you.
I'm glad, and thank you so much for just being part of that. And when you came with this idea, it's like, oh man, this is fun. Yeah, this is right up where I want to do this. So yeah, and I've enjoyed the hell out of this and coming up with the questions. And I'm sorry again, we're not on the usual the night that you would usually do it, but I do actually have to travel,
Right? Yeah.
unfortunately. So that's why I think we've done a Saturday Night Live, which has been a bit of fun. So live from
Well,
New
yeah.
York, it's Saturday night.
Live from New York. It was Saturday night, indeed. Fuck yeah, dude. All right, man.
Brilliant.
Justin, you're the best. I
All
love
right.
you, brother.
Love you too, man. You stay
Have a
safe.
great night.
Bye.
Bye bye. Well, that was awesome. Me being on the other side of things. Yippee ki yay, motherfuckers. That was a whole lot of fun. Well, good questions. I had a feeling they would be. He's a smart cookie, that one. And it's nice to have someone around my age that went through all these similar times and saw these similar movies as I saw them too. Anyways, yeah, so this might be the last show of the season. I don't know. I don't know. Thus far, I think this might be it. I might be back in a couple months. Who knows? But I want to take some time off. I've been doing this consistently for what, like 3 months now. All right, I'm good. I want I want some me time. Damn it! But I will be back one day. I will be doing um more pictures, of course, for the Instagram and all that shit. But just want to say thank you all so much for watching. This has been a hell of a good season. If it continues, I'll just show up and there'll be more episodes. But if it doesn't, I hope you had a good time. I sure did. My guests were all fantastic. You're all fantastic. Whether you're watching it live on Instagram, watching it later on Instagram or on YouTube, give me a like. I'd appreciate it. Give me a comment. Give me a subscription. It lets the algorithm know that you're interested because it's not important, but it's good to know. It's good to have. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching, folks. You're the best. You're the best around. Nothing's gonna try to keep you down. You're the best around. Have a great night, and I'll see you soon. Take care, folks. Bye bye.